SaaStr Insider webinar. We do these every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific. Thanks if you're watching in the Zoom or on one of the live streams. I know a lot of you guys catch it there and you catch it afterwards. So thanks for watching and coming back this Thursday. Yeah, there's a few things we got going on at SaaStr, which we thought we would talk about, just a few things.
One or two, a couple.
One or two. One or two. The first thing I want to start with is I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't start with Europa. So let's start there. Let me get my screen share going. And let me get our handy dandy prospectus up. Then we'll talk a little bit about money, and then we'll talk a little bit about annual. We'll just try and then maybe actually we'll talk about our upcoming media. There's a lot going on, so we'll try and do just like a few minutes on each and split it up between the three of us because I know there is a lot going on. But yeah, let's kick off and share my screen here. If you guys have any questions in the meantime, whether you're watching on Zoom or the live stream, drop them into your respective chats, and I'll go through all the chats later, so we can help answer questions. So yeah, I think for maybe those who don't know, I'm just going to scroll down here so you guys have a little bit of a better view. SaaStr Europa is coming up. It is about a month away. So I know it's wild. It's I feel like I was just at Tobacco Docs for SaaStr Europa 2023.
Seriously, but like seriously.
Yeah, kind of wild. So yeah, we'll be back there in a month, June 4th and 5th. Gonna be a really great event. I'll just point out a few things on the website and then I'll flip over back to our sponsorships. I think there's a few things left which we can call out. I know the guys have been chatting with a few prospective partners on what's left. But yeah, just to give a little bit of again, we're going to try and hit a few things for just a few minutes on today's webinar, because I know there's a few things going on in the SaaStr universe just to catch you guys up to speed on. But yeah, so the next big in-person event, SaaStr Europa, 4th and 5th in June. If you were there last year, Tobacco Docs, we're in the same venue. If you haven't been, we're in Tobacco Docs. It's like central London, fairly easy to get to on like the tube, the Lightspeed rail, all that kind of cab, all that kind of thing. Central London. So if you've got other clients and customers you want to meet there, great place to do it. Europa, indoor, outdoor. Should be great vibes as it was last year. We've got a ton of really great speakers, which I'll scroll down to just for a second. And then I'll touch on our audience a little bit because I feel like that is a question we get a lot lately. So yeah, lots of really great speakers. So many have been added. Some of these are representative of some of like the top 5 sessions. So, you've got Gong, OpenAI, Notion, Harry from 20 VCs coming, Sneak, Dashlane, Excel, Lightspeed, Synthesia, the full speakers and agenda here for anyone to browse and go through. Whether you're attending or sponsoring, always good to make sure you are signed up for these sessions and build out your agenda. Also, if you're sponsoring, a good idea to not spend, the entirety of the day in the booth, maybe go to 1 or 2 sessions and have enough staffing to trade off. Something we always recommend. A lot of really great sessions on here. Obviously, we don't have time to go through the whole thing. So maybe Brian and Waylon, I'll ask you guys, do you have a session you're looking forward to already that you know of?
I think Sam Blonde's easy
Always,
sales tricks. Yeah, like Sam's great, obviously. Done some really great stuff, like some famous SaaStr's with Breck. So excited to see his session.
Yeah, I know that Oracle's got a big session coming up that will be really great. I'm excited for that one. I think also just actually right there, the Gong IO, a meet session with Jason. That's going to be a fire session. I don't know if you have ever heard Amit speak. I mean, Jason's awesome, but as well. But when these two together, they've done a couple of things together. It is really great content that comes out of it. So anyway, that's going to be a session.
No, I like those picks. Good call outs there. Yeah, I think anytime, I feel like if you guys have listened to any of Jason's recent content, I've been told it's I've listened to it too, but I've been told from others it's like very punchy. It's like the feedback we get lately. So this will be a good one. It is earlier in the day to kick things off on day 1. So yeah, good one. Not to, make sure you're there when doors open so that you've got a place for this session. Yeah, to that point, Kylie from IBM, who's great and did annual last year, is coming as well. Yeah, to the point on Oracle, yeah, they're doing, the topic du jour, it seems like, they're talking about AI, so that'll be a really great one. Really great folks who are leading, the teams at Oracle and NetSuite, and the EMEA teams are coming to do this in London, which will be great. Cloudflare, obviously a good case study to learn from. Hook, a really great, Natasha's a really great sales leader that came from, SalesLoft and is now at Hook, and is leading their customer success team. I think that'll be a good one. I know IBM, which we've already mentioned, so some really good ones there. Amplitude, yeah, there's a lot on this agenda, so fairly stacked. I think Howard from Rome is doing a session second day, right? It's like a workshop, which will be cool. So yeah, lots of really great sessions. So highly recommend you guys sign up for those if you have not yet. And then we'll touch for a second. I don't want to give you guys like scroll. I don't know what you call it, like scroll vertigo. I'm like, I've got to coin a term here.
Scroll vertigo.
You know what I meant? Like,
I do. I like it. It's
scroll sickness.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Instead of motion sickness. Yeah. Scroll sickness. So yeah, I've paused and reshared now. But yeah, so again, if you haven't been to Europa or you need a refresher on the vibe of Europa, and then we'll get into what's left. Yeah, it's our primary EMEA UK event, probably the number one event in London for SaaS. I would say, we did just point out some of the speakers. A lot of the speakers, some of them are EMEA teams, or you'll see like on the Oracle one or like Notion or Cloudflare, like it's their head of EMEA plus like a VP from the States, right? So I think one of the big differentiators we have is like we do have this international pool of folks that are coming from North America. North America is always our number 3 audience. I feel like I can't stress that enough for London. Like North America is still very present at this event. Obviously, UK and Europe, because you have to count those separately now, make up the top 2. But yeah, North America is always third at this event. So bringing together a really great global community. This will be the 5th SaaStr Europa, so that'll be fun. It's 2 days, it's jam-packed. You guys saw all the sessions. Just again, in terms of our audience, it is global. UK number 1, just rest of Europe and EMEA being number 2, North America being number 3. We have such a heavy emphasis in Europe on networking and brain dates, which is launching next week. So great way to get involved, whether you're sponsoring or attending, is to make sure you are registered so you can sign up for those brain dates. We will do a deep dive on just all Europa logistics just next week. I know a lot of our current sponsors have been, in the portal and like crushing those deadlines. So thanks to everyone who's watching and did that. That's been super helpful. But yeah, really we're in that phase where once you hit the 30-day mark, things are just rampant, man. They're just rocking and rolling. It's really good vibes in Europa. Brian and Wayland, anything you want to add on Europa here before we just kind of touch on what's left at Europa?
No, honestly, I think you've rocked it from my end, Amelia. I think it's honestly it's a punchy vibe. We are a festival type vibe. It's our 5th time doing it. So I just said this to someone else earlier today. It's our 5th time doing it. We kind of know what we're doing at this point. The audience knows what they're doing at this point.
Yeah.
It's a different conference than going to any of the other conferences you're going to go to. It's got a lot of networking opportunity. It's very natural environment for you to meet a lot of really cool and interesting founders and people. So I think it has a lot going for it in that regard. Yeah. Wayland, I don't know about you.
No, it's great. I think just doubling down on the audience there, founders, like it's going to be 56% VP level and above. So, if you're looking to network with other executives, this is the spot.
Yeah, this is the spot. Also, good call out that, I say this almost every week, but I'll say it one more time. If you are a current sponsor or thinking about getting one of these last things, which we'll touch on next, bring an exec, dude. I love when execs do quote unquote booth duty. I feel like I need to coin a new term for booth duty. That's not booth duty, but I love when execs report for duty and they spend time in the booth. A lot of execs and CEOs have been known to do it at the Europa event, at the annual event we do. I'm not saying they have to do it, full days and like load in and be there every hour of the day. But if you can even get them, either in the morning, which is a great time for them to be there, or during happy hour, which is a great time, things like that. If you are bringing an exec or thinking about it, it's always a good use of their time, right? They can talk to you'll find a lot of folks are, current customers, and you'll find a lot of really great prospects who are focused on buying and increasing, their scale and profitability. Really great event to be at from that perspective too. So yeah, something I'd be remiss if I didn't mention slightly. And then yeah, let me flip gears here to kind of our Europa perspective and what's left. I know we're kind of dwindling down here, but I know there are a few things left. Let me make sure I've got the right deck open. This happens when you have back-to-back calls. Sometimes you don't have all your tabs.
I laugh because I know that feeling so well.
Yeah, I'm like, ideally I would have had all these tabs open already, but I literally finished one call and then got on this call. Probably like many of you. Yeah, let me actually go to this one. So let me share this screen. Cool. So yeah, Europa. Yeah, I think we mentioned it, but yeah, it's fourth through fifth at Tobacco Docs. Again, not a whole lot left to sponsor, but I know there are a few things, so we'll touch on them here. We chatted about the audience, but I'm just going to show it briefly on the screen there. I think there's like one gold, maybe two if we punch ourselves, but I think there's one or two.
The one thing I will say about gold sponsorships is that they're very easy to deploy. So if you're
Very easy.
worried about like, oh my God, how am I going to get this together? It's plug and play. Like we make this super easy. It's very turnkey on our end. So, you know, have no fear on that. We can get something stood up here very fast.
Yeah. I'd say from this perspective, yeah, if you're like, you know, okay, I'm kind of coming in maybe a little bit too late because it's a month before to do something like, yeah, not to say that you wanted to, we could work really fast to do a super gold or a platinum. But if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by that, I think the gold is a good one to anchor on. It's fairly turnkey in terms of graphics. I mean, honestly, you don't even have to design a full back wall unless you want to at this point. You still can. There's time to do that, right? I just spoke with our production and branding vendor this morning to see what they could accommodate, and sounds like they can. So again, like you could literally even just do a logo on a back wall and it would look good. So yeah, it's fairly turnkey, right? It's and if you already have team members to deploy that are local to you know London or Europe and a media, pretty easy to get them there on you know a quick flight or the train. So still time to do this. I think there's at least one, potentially two, but I know there's at least one gold left. I know some of these have more of a hard deadline because of prints and things like that. So water bottles, I think, is one of those things. I mean, these things literally show up everywhere between annual, Europa, yeah, London. It's a good leave behind. We do like good quality water bottles so that people actually want to, you know, keep them and take them. So yeah, water bottle, again, super easy. It's just your logo. So that is one of those things that fairly turnkey. Reg, I know Wayland, you've been talking to a few folks about Reg. So you might say to me, this is already probably earmarked, but even so, yeah, you've been explaining it to folks. I guess how do you see Reg as? I mean, I see it as one of the best things, right? Because it's the first thing people see. But yeah, how are you expressing the value of being the registration sponsor?
Well, I think that's really it, right? It's that you are the first sponsor that everyone's going to see when they come in, and you're the last sponsor they're going to see when they leave. So from a visibility perspective, it doesn't get much better than that. It's also the branding in the space, like it's pretty ubiquitous. So it's not just like a small sign here. Like if you see the photos of registration last year, it's a huge amount of space to get your branding over. You're also going to get branded t-shirts. So your brand on the t-shirts of registration staff. So it really is
the counters,
even though it's basically turnkey, even though it's basically turnkey for you, it feels really high touch because your brand is on everybody they're interacting with as they come in as well. So great way to just get in front of a ton of people, especially if you don't have a whole lot of staff. Obviously, you can get a couple passes for staff to come and work the event as well. But a really good way to get a high visibility at a very low price point and low lift.
Yep. It is also one of those things where I'm like, I always remind folks, like everybody has to go through Reg. I'm like, it doesn't matter if they're a speaker, a sponsor, what it is. Like literally, we make everyone go through Reg. So, some high value there again, and getting in front. You saw that speaker list too. So those are folks you're trying to target. This is a good way if they're on your like target account list. Good way to do that. And then I think the last two would be the brain dates and well actually there's more on here, so I spoke a little too soon. But yeah, happy hours. Waylon, how are you thinking about the happy hours on site?
So for me, like happy hours, one of the great things is that you are able to actually meet people at the happy hours. So you can set up your team in there. It's a great way. Again, it's a low lift thing. This is a great one for like VCs and people who want to get their brand there. You don't necessarily feel like you've got a booth, like you've got an offering. You want people to come talk at the booth, but everybody's going to the happy hour. You do like table tents and things like that with QR codes if you want to direct people to like an offer, a SaaStr specific offer. So I think it's a great way to get a bunch of brand exposure, be associated with like everybody having a good time at the event, and still have that ability to lead them to some sort of offer if you do have one.
Yep. And then Brian, I know you have a sponsor for the Brain Dates and Annual, so maybe just to touch base on it here for Europe. It's only slightly different in that it's 2 days of Brain Dates, but
yeah. Yeah. But I think it's probably one of the best values that we offer in terms of sponsorship, because it's not only the ability for you to engage the audience the way you would normally at like a booth or an expo, right? But almost everyone, and that might be a little bit liberal, but in saying right, but almost everyone is doing a brain date at SaaStr in some way, shape, or form.
yeah.
Right? I think it's somewhere just shy of 80% of our audience is going to engage with this section. What it is it's like a series of roundtables, sections where you can go in and go deep on a topic with people that are like-minded individuals. They want to go and have this conversation. And brain dates is that. It's super flippin' popular. We do allow our brain date sponsors typically to come in. They'll get their branding on it. They'll be able to have their team there. But we also have some opportunities for what we call super brain dates. We're just a little bit larger. And so I really think it's a really nice, natural way to engage the audience. If you're looking for that kind of hands-on engagement in a natural environment, it's great. It's been known, and over the past 4 years that I've been here anyway, it's been known where brain dates is a place where deals close. So, just saying.
Yes. Just saying. No, I think those are really great call outs for Brain Dates there. And Brain Dates says, it's starting its launch next week, so it's a good time to do it. It's fairly turnkey for what you have to do, right? Again, on site, it's just logos and then getting your team set up on the Brain Dates platform. That could be done in one call. So really easy, fairly turnkey to do. But I would say too, the last thing I'll call out on the Brain Date sponsorship, I do like it because it's both digital and in person. So that's why it is at like a slightly higher price point than the registration sponsorship, right? So for Brain Dates, the app goes live next week. It's a desktop app, but it's also in the SaaStr mobile app. So you do get like that mobile app branding within the portal for Brain Dates, which is really cool. All the emails about Brain Dates, you get the branding and then, on site, the lounge is branded as well. So that's a super cool one, I think, because you get a little bit of both, which I think is quite nice if you're trying to come in last minute and make a big impact. That's a good one to do it with. I think there's a few last ones on here. And one that's oddly not on here, but I know we chat about a lot is the VC Lounge, Waylon. So again, I know you've been chatting with folks about the VC Lounge, but yeah, how are you presenting that one?
So I think that the really cool thing about the VC Lounge is that it's restricted to founders and investors, so VCs and PE. So if you're someone who wants to sell into any of those avatars, you basically have a captive audience. There's no other sponsors in that area.
Yep.
There's food and beverage served all day, so it's high traffic. Most people who fall into those groups are probably going to find their way there at some point. You've also got the ability to sort of set up shop with a couple people from your company, greet people, chat with them. So I think, you combine those things, it's a really targeted high level audience that is really appealing to some people. And so I've got a few, I think 3 or 4 people right now that are really strongly considering that VC Lounge. It's also low lift, and that's part of what people like about it. It's like, we're obviously, fairly close to game time here. So the ability to just like have all your branding in there and a few people there and get to have a lot of great conversations is pretty appealing for how little effort it requires.
Yeah, and I'll just flip to where on the floor plan the VC Lounge is. So we do have a Founders Lounge that is already sponsored by Rome. The VC Lounge is right across the way, sort of off the main stage and the networking. So again, these lounges will be jam-packed, right, all days. It is cool. We do gate them, as Waylon mentioned, right? So for the Founders Lounge, you have to be a founder or CEO or be meeting with one of those people that's in there. Similar for the VC Lounge, you have to be an investor or a founder to be in the lounge, and those are like access controlled. So yeah, those are really great spaces where, again, if you want to target specifically any of those audience within Europa, great way to do that at the lounge, right? there. We also have a co-working space, which I know very similarly in terms of branding of what you could do on site, fairly turnkey. Same idea here. I don't know if anyone who doesn't use our co-working space, at least at some point during the events, right? Whether it's Europa or annual, at some point you got to take a Zoom or send an email. So usually folks use the co-working space to do that. So that's kind of the onus there. Yeah, and then yeah, I think the other thing that I'll show, and again, try not to give you guys too much scroll fatigue. The other thing we have going on day 0, as we affectionately call it, and I think the last thing to sponsor is our VIP opening reception. So this is a mix of actually we're using this main Tobacco Docs venue for batch pickups, but also there's a really great restaurant across the way we're using in combination with the venue for day 1 for the VIP reception. This is a great way to get in front of folks, kind of the calm before the storm, right? You're getting that audience that is local. Folks are flying in, they're in town, they want to come pick up their badge early. Really great mix. We've historically seen a mix of, CEOs, VIPs, CROs, because we invite all the speakers to this too. So that's kind of a cool one there. If you want to sponsor the opening reception, a great way to get some, extra branding and boost in front of folks. And yeah, kick off the networking before the formal event and before people have, it's a lot of days and time. So they're kind of their freshest during the opening reception. So great time to do that there. I know we kind of sped through this and we're already somehow at the half-hour mark. So how did that happen? Anything else we want to hit on Europa?
I just think it's really exciting. I'm really pumped that we're only a month away here.
I know I think the momentum is starting to, I mean, as it always does the month before the event, but we're starting to see more too on social and speakers getting excited. And so I've looked at a lot of branding proofs lately and it all looks great.
The biggest thing I think maybe I just add, we spoke a lot about the sponsors, but just in general, I think the biggest thing with this show is to have a plan, right? Like
yeah,
with a plan in mind. There's a lot going on. Right. It's not just content and everyone goes to content. A lot of people go to content, but some people go to brain dates and some people go to there's so much happening. So go through the agenda, make your plan, figure out where you're going to find the majority of your value. And I think if you've been to any of our shows, you'll notice that anything we do, we very tactfully intersperse our sponsors in between all of it. So you're going to engage with people that are sponsoring and also they could be engaging with you. So, there's that. But that's just have a plan. A good plan is going to be worthwhile.
Yeah. And then I'll briefly touch on SaaStr Money because I think people don't realize we're doing additional damage here. To be fair, we just launched it. So there is that. I think a lot of folks are like, I can't get to London. We were like, okay, we got to do something probably in between these two. So yeah, SaaStr Money, for those who don't know, just to slightly change gears. SaaStr Money is our next big digital mega event, as we call it. It is before our team goes to London. So it is May 26th. It's coming up at the end of the month here. But no, we've got a lot of really great speakers who are already in the mix for Money, which I think we're going to go live with on Monday. But so stay tuned there. But yeah, we did one of these, I think, back in 2021. But really, it's finance, fintech, and funding, and the intersection of those within SaaS. So last time we did this, you can watch some of the sessions here. Again, I'll try and scroll slowly, but we had Square, Chime, Sage, Treasury Point, Plaid, really great Adyen, really great names here, and fintech and also financing. Very similar lineup will be announced shortly again for this one that's coming up at the end of the month. If you missed our last digital mega event, it was called AI Day. We just did it last month, or maybe it was the end of March. I get my months confused, but we just did it recently is the point. And no, it was a great success. I think, from both a attendee and sponsorship perspective, because we do these digital mega events as free for attendees, meaning, anyone can sign up. We post it out for the SaaStr universe to come and join. A lot of really great high quality folks come to the digital mega events, right, from around the globe. You'll still get that really great traction, in front of, VP levels above as we do in anything we do at SaaStr. But I think specifically, for AI, obviously we saw a lot of registrants who we're focusing on AI. I think for Money Day, what we saw for the past data and what we'll probably see this year, right, is you'll see a lot of our really great kind of like what I call core SaaStr audience, plus a lot more like, investors, CFOs, and operators who are in the thick of things. So that is SaaStr Money. I know it's coming up quick. I know, Waylon, I'll start with you, then we'll go to Brian, just because I know you've got a few folks you've already scoped this out to. Yeah, how are you pitching kind of like if folks want to get involved, I guess, because I haven't really explained it yet. How can they get involved with SaaStr Money Day?
Well, yes, we do have sponsorships. They basically involve 15-minute speaking sessions, which is awesome. Typically, you could do 10 minutes plus 5 minutes of Q&A.
Yep.
I had 2 sponsors in AI Day. They both received well over 10,000. I think at this point, close to 20,000 views of their sessions, which is awesome. Like that's like a full arena. It's tough to get that, especially the audience. Again, SaaStr always, it's going to be a senior audience. If you're trying to get in front of financial decision makers, this is 100% the spot to do it. And from a leads perspective, we were talking about 75 to 300 leads per session. And, I think we averaged over 500. The lowest session maybe had something like 380, and they didn't sign up until a week before the event. So they didn't go out in most of the marketing comms. So really great opportunity early in the year here to get a lot of leads in, especially if you're trying to get in front of that, either finance or RevOps personas.
Yep. Yeah, Brian, anything to add there?
Yeah, 100%. I think the one thing I would add is that we reuse our content, right? And
yeah,
this is
great point.
a really great way to get content with SaaStr because the long tail behind it is excellent. So yeah, you'll get the leads that Waylon's saying, which is absolutely something that'll be good. They're going to be top of funnel leads, just more investigative, right? Against what you're talking about, your topic. That's going to be the way. It's very awareness play. But at the same time, you get that ongoing brand recognition throughout the mid-lifetime of this session, which some of our sessions, I mean, heck, some I've seen some sessions even go on the podcast if they're really good.
Yeah.
So, we use the ones that are popular and go really, really well over and over and over again, because some of them just live in perpetuity. And then some die quick, right? So just, calling it out there, we do have editorial guidelines for a reason. You probably should look at them. If you follow them, that's great. If you don't, some sessions die. So there's that. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's just like one of those things where like if we see it's super popular, we'll give it an extra bump. With our digital events, similar to AI Day, you guys have probably seen we drip out the content at least once, right? Guaranteed as part of your sponsorship. So everybody does get like a full write-up that goes on SaaStr.com. It goes in the newsletter when it comes out. So again, great extra branding there. But yeah, and then some of them get an extra boost because they just get either viral or super popular with our audience. So yeah, if this is an audience you want to get in front of, again, it's fairly turnkey. It's mostly just content and a logo, so we can put your logo on the website. But really great way to get in front of them. I know a lot of folks, if you're thinking about doing this and you're already a Europa or annual sponsor and you want to get in front of this demographic, just let one of the guys here know. So we can see what we can do for you. Because I know a lot of folks are kind of like bundling this in with whatever they're currently already doing as like just a secondary touch point as well. So I know we hit that all fast. There's a lot I want to get to, but I want to be mindful that we are already at past now there. So with that being said, let me just stop real quick and see what questions have come in on the live stream. Let me flip to my restream chat here. Okay, just to make sure if there are any that we cover them off. Okay, so with that, let's just give you guys a quick rundown of the schedule and then ways to get in touch if you do have any like more detailed questions, because I can appreciate if you don't want to ask it in front of everyone else if it's a little more nuanced. So okay, to recap, the very next thing we're doing is Workshop Wednesday, because we do that every Wednesday. So gotta plug that. We do that every Wednesday. So we'll be here on Wednesday. We do those every Wednesday. You can sign up for free. Workshop Wednesday, every Wednesday, including Money Day kind of takes the place of Workshop Wednesday, but every Wednesday we're there. We do these every Thursday. So just, you guys are here now, but yeah, come back next Thursday as well. We'll be doing a full deep dive on Europa if that's of interest. And then yeah, SaaStr Money Day, May 22nd. It's also Wednesday. End of the month, we're going to do a big mega digital event. It'll be free to sign up. Again, that's going live on Monday. So you guys can start signing up on Monday if you want to sponsor, let one of the guys know. And then yeah, we're within 30 days of SaaStr Europa. So June 4th to 5th at Tobacco Docs. We've got a bunch of media and digital events between Europa and annual, but then, annual's in September. It'll be the 10th one in the SF Bay Area. So just a few things, if you're trying to, keeping up with the SaaStrs. I was like, that was not gonna.
Keeping up with the SaaStrs.
Yeah, keeping up with the SaaStrs. I don't know.
Nathan dropped off just for that reason.
He was like, I'm not into this reference.
I'm not playing with that, he said.
He's out. Yeah, so lots going on, but if folks want to get in touch with you specifically, Brian, because you have a different email address, how do folks get in touch?
Yeah, I'm Brian.
Yeah.
Brian with a Y at SaaStrCo.com.
With a Y.
You can also get me on LinkedIn. Carrier pigeons work. Whatever happens, just you reach out. We're here.
I don't know. There's a lot of pigeons in New York, man. I don't know if it's gonna make it to you.
That is true. They get confused.
They might make it in the vicinity and get distracted, but thanks for everyone for joining. If you're already in touch with Waylon or want to get in touch with him, I know you can find him on LinkedIn at Waylon McGill or Waylon at SaaStr Inc. You can hit me up. I'm AI@SaaStrinc.com. Super easy. Thanks for listening and watching. We will see you next week.